So if you read it basically says perhaps the most important part of criticism is the fact that it presents to the creator a problem which is never solved. Right? When you create something, you missed out something. यही कर रहे हो ना? This is the one we are doing, right? Criticism is to him a perpetual presence. No matter what you do, it will never be perfect. You create something, you write something, you paint something, you sing something, somebody or other will always feel that there can be some value added and something is missing. If you could satisfy his mind that criticism was a certain thing, a good thing or a bad, a proper presence or an irrelevant, he could psychologically dispose of it. For criticism, but he cannot. For criticism is a configuration of responses and reactions so intricate, very detailed, so kaleidoscopic, lot of patterns. It's not like even the same person might come tomorrow and he might criticize you in a different way, because it will depend on his mood also. That it would be as simple as to categorize life itself. Just like you cannot categorize life, you cannot categorize criticism. The artist remains the artist precisely in so far as he rejects the simplifying and reducing process of the average man who at an early age puts life away into some snug conception of its mind and race. Now he brings in that aspect that if you get criticized, do you need to change? Because it might be that you are better than the other person actually. You have a better vision, you have a newer vision, you have a more creative vision, you are more fresh in terms of the vision. In the moment when he elects to avoid by whatever makeshift the raw agony of life, he ceases to be fit to create. He must face experience forever freshly, reduce life each day anew to chaos and remold it into order. Thus only may he retain and record that pure surprise whose earliest voicing is the first cry of the infant. So just like when a baby is born and it realizes that okay, I am different from my mother, there's a world outside and there's a concept of I. It's not like my mother and I both are the same. I will feel hungry, my mother will also feel hungry, right? That unresolved expectancy of the creator toward life should be his response to criticism also. He should hold it as part of his adventure, that if I do something new, people will come and give their opinion. Their opinion might be better if they are better than me, their opinion will be worse if they are worse than me. He should understand in it, particularly when it is impertinent, stupid and cruel. Especially when people are criticizing you for the wrong reasons, you need to understand why that is happening. The ponderable weight of life itself, reacting upon his search for a fresh conquest over it. Though it persists unchanged in its role of purveying misinformation and absurdity to the public, he should know it for himself a blessed dispensation, that it can be a blessing in disguise, the criticism. With his maturity, the creator's work goes out into the world, and in this act he puts the world away. For the artist's work defines, and definition means apartness. And the average man is undefined in the social body. So the average person, you put him into a group and you cannot find that man again. He is lost. But when you have an artist, you have a creator, you put him in the group and he will stand apart. He will shine. He is defined. The average person is undefined. Here is a danger for the artist within every essence of his artistic value. During the years of his apprenticeship, he has struggled to create for himself an essential world out of experience. Now he begins to succeed and he lives too fully in his own selection. He lives too simply in the effects of his effort. So when you are doing your training, you are learning how to replicate others. You are learning how to work, how your teacher teaches you. But you can't remain there forever. You got to become somebody different, somebody with a different identity when you start your own professional life. But the rawness of family and business is refined or removed. But now once more the world comes into him in the form of the critic. Here again, in a sharp, concentrated sense, the world moves in on him. its complacency, its hysteria, its downtending appetites and fond illusions, its pathetic worship of yesterdays and hatred of tomorrows, its fear dogmas and its blood avowals. The artist shall leave the world only to find it, hate it only because he loves attacking it only if he serves. At that epoch of his life, when the world's gross sources may grow dim, criticism brings them back. Wherefore, the function of the critic is a blessing and a need.